The water is dead still. Under the thick, humid shade of the trees, floating leaves choke the surface of the pond. Sitting at the edge is an old fisherman, perfectly motionless. His face is sunken, his features worn, and his chin clings to his jaw like a dried mango pit buried in the sand. For 5 consecutive days he has sat by this bank without a single catch. His bamboo pole hangs limply over the water, completely ignored by the fish hiding in the cool depths below. The fatigue in his bones mirrors the rotting vegetation around him. His eyes are heavy, and his grip on the rod is so weak, if he fell asleep, the pole would slip from his hands into the mud. This stillness is heavy. As the sun dips, the apathy of the pond begins to feel identical to the apathy in his own limbs. That morning, his 38-year-old unmarried daughter had seen him out the door with a specific, bitter complaint. She told him, "This is a doomed trip. Your final journey." Normally, he would brush off her frustration, but sitting alone in the oppressive afternoon heat, those parting words mutate from a routine household grumble into a creeping, very real dread. He becomes obsessed with the mechanics of dying alone. If his heart fails right here on the bank, his corpse will lie undiscovered, rotting in the intense heat, until someone finally comes looking for him the next afternoon. He imagines his daughter waiting at the door. If he dies here, she remains trapped in that house, unmarried and entirely alone, with no one left to provide a single meal. As dusk begins to settle, the dormant pond erupts into violence. A long water snake slithers through the dense roots and snatches a green frog. The frog screams from inside the snake's jaws. Raw, violent death is actively playing out mere feet away from the fisherman. At that exact second, his wooden float jerks sharply and plunges underwater. The long drought is over. A massive fish has taken the bait. Reeling in this catch is the immediate, tangible solution he needs. It means he can finally feed his daughter and end the 5-day streak of coming home empty-handed. But with salvation violently tugging at his line, the brutal reality of the ecosystem beside him forces his mind into a state of shock. Instead of fighting the fish, he freezes. He grips the rod but makes no attempt to pull it out of the water, paralyzed by a profound sense of doom. He constructs a terrifying chain reaction. Yanking the rod kills the fish. This synchronized struggle triggers the snake to crush the frog. The final connection is his heart. Completing this triad of violence fulfills his daughter's curse, killing him instantly. He calculates a desperate strategy for survival. He decides that if he simply holds perfectly still, doing absolutely nothing until the fish spits the hook, he can outsmart death entirely. The abstract, crushing weight of his own mortality completely overpowers his biological instinct to pull the food from the water. The fisherman sits perfectly still in the fading light. The line stays pulled taut under the surface, a silent standoff between his fear of dying and the heavy weight at the end of the bamboo pole. Then a sharp memory pierces his trance. He hears the unsatisfied voice of his daughter and visualizes her harsh, hunger-filled eyes waiting for him at home. The concrete reality of her poverty cuts cleanly through his philosophical dread. He realizes that an empty stomach is far more dangerous than the abstract idea of a cursed ecosystem. Instinct overrides the paralysis. In a fraction of a second, he grips the bamboo with both hands and yanks the line straight up into the air with every ounce of strength he has left. The abstract nightmare of the Triad collapses. In its place is the sudden, urgent weight of a living thing fighting at the end of his line. The dark water explodes. A massive, gleaming snakehead fish flies out of the pond and crashes heavily onto the muddy bank, thrashing in the dirt. The violent splash forcefully resets the ecosystem. Instead of a synchronized tragedy, the noise terrifies the water snake, causing it to drop the wounded frog, which hops to safety. And the old man is still breathing. He gathers himself in the heavy dusk. Gripping the bamboo rod in one hand and holding the heavy, squirming catch in the other, he begins the long walk back across the dark fields. The cosmic terror of his own mortality vanishes completely. It is replaced by a simple, deeply human relief. Tonight, he will finally get to go to sleep without being yelled at by his daughter.